So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am here today to portray to you a conflict so asinine that it cannot even be considered an argument. This conflict is the right for someone to control their own fate. I know, it sounds ridiculous. This isn't a Pixar movie about a ginger. Our fates aren't laid out before us and decided by an outside force. It's our life, our say. Just because you go to your pediatrician for a flu shot and they tell you that you have to die, it doesn't mean that you have to follow their advice. Now obviously this is an extreme example, but this lays out the precedent for the opposite predicament. If you have logical reason to end your life, it is no one else to say as to what your final decision is. Now this is not saying they cannot try to influence you otherwise, but they should try to respect the conclusion you've come to. Let me give you an example. You wake up one day, your thoughts are all fuzzy, all you can see is black and there's a sharp ringing in your right ear. You can't feel either arm or your left leg. There are sharp pains that keep hitting your chest like shards of glass getting launched into you from a cannon. Through the ringing, you can hear the doctor say your name in a calm voice. He tells you that you have been in a car accident with a semi, and you have lost most motor abilities and will need life support for the rest of your foreseeable life. The ringing still persists and the pain is still excruciating. After a week, nothing changes, and you realize this will be your life now. Nothing exciting will ever happen again. You are doomed to be miserable. You're barely able to pull through yet another week, then you snap. These past 2 weeks have been absolute hell, and you're expected to spend decades like this. You come to the decision that you would rather end it now than suffer any longer. You bring it up to the doctor as he comes to you for your regular checkup. The doctor simply responds that him euthanizing you could compromise his entire career because physician-assisted suicide is not legal in your state. Because of this, you are forced to suffer each day for the next 8 years, by which point you have grown completely apathetic. This whole deal could have been avoided if only physician-assisted suicide was legal in all 50 states.
Okay. 147.
All of us in this room share the same special gift, life. We were all given a cognizant life to live as we choose. With this life, we have an almost infinite number of opportunities. But when life is looking tough, some people argue that we should be able to end our lives. We should be able, with the help of doctors, to end this wonderful thing called life. Physician-assisted suicide is the killing of oneself with the help of a doctor. This is not only a violation against life, but a violation against doctors. If we decide to end a life, we lose all respect for living in itself. By sanctioning physician-assisted suicide, we would be sanctioning killing. We can all agree that killing is the worst thing a human can do. But now, we ask a doctor, the healer of humanity, to kill. We ask those that take an oath to help, those that spend their entire lives to heal and save others, to now take a life. We would tarnish the name of doctor forevermore. No longer can doctors sit atop the pedestal we place them upon. No longer can patients completely trust doctors with their life, for now they can recommend ending it. With the legalization of physician-assisted suicide, doctors would be able to prescribe much more than antibiotics. They would be able to prescribe death, and that is simply too much power for any human to have. It is inevitable that there will be those that abuse this power. As a great man once said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. In the end, this debate is a question about the value of living. And the fact of the matter is, life is time. Time to experience the world, time to be happy, and time to make a difference. It should never be legal to end someone's time.
1 minute, 48 seconds. Point 1, Crow.
I believe that we should have the right to choose. My life is mine and mine alone. Why should someone else decide when I get to die and when I get to live? Physician-assisted suicide goes right along with so many practices that we already have, yet it is segregated from them. When you're extremely weak and have a high possibility of arresting or your heart stopping, you can sign a DNR. Do not resuscitate. Your doctors will not be able to perform CPR. They will not be able to bring you back. They will be letting you die. Maybe you wake up from surgery and your whole body is paralyzed, your organs no longer able to function on their own, and the only thing keeping you alive is a tube down your throat and the cords attaching you to nearby machines. You will have the option to be taken off life support and die. To some people, terminal illness is worse. To lie in bed day after day, to never leave the hospital, that is paralyzing. According to Source 7, the majority of people who choose physician-assisted suicide have malignant neoplasms. This was the case of Brittany Maynard, who chose physician-assisted suicide in 2014. When asked, Brittany said, "There is not a cell in my body that is suicidal or that wants to die. I want to live. I wish there was a cure for my disease, but there is not. My glioblastoma is going to kill me, and that's out of my control. I've discussed with many experts how I would die from it, and it's a terrible, terrible way to die. Being able to choose to go with dignity is less terrifying." Instead of living a life of pain and suffering, Brittany was able to choose to end her life. She chose to leave this world peacefully, on her own terms. Isn't that a right everyone should be afforded?
2+. Rebuttal?
Well, you said that it's someone else's choice to end your life. However, it's not. It's your choice to end your own life because you have to make the choice several times and you have to sign consent forms, and so it's technically your own choice. Also, it's not always peaceful. As in Source 3, I believe, they said that one man died because they took out his feeding tube, and I think starving to death would not really be considered peaceful.
And there have been times when people have just taken physician-assisted suicide because it's like an easy way out. Like there was a man who had HIV, and the doctor told him, "You have like many years left to live without even many symptoms." But he just said he was depressed, and he just said, "Whatever, I'll just take the easy path." So.
54 seconds. Point 1, Con.
There are millions of people with many different backgrounds in this country. If a person who was very close to you was deciding that they wanted to choose physician-assisted suicide for medical reasons, would you tell them they should go for it? Even if a person is going through a ton of pain, they usually do not want to suffer and typically do not want their families to worry. This argument states that people who are terminally ill should deserve the right to die because of the pain they go through. However, this argument can be placed with people who are disabled, depressed, or even anyone who is going through a great deal of pain. If physician-assisted suicide was legalized in all 50 states in the U.S., many more might request suicide, and how would that make our country look if people were not in the right mindset or did not want to work on their problems anymore? This choice is not entirely up to the person, but their doctor as well. Doctors should be there to support a person 100%, even if a person is not in a good state of mind. For people who happen to be terminally ill, do have a chance of living. According to Source B, in 2010, 16% of hospice patients in America were eventually discharged from hospice care, and there were people with cancer, emphysema, heart failure, and or dementia. The chances are not always so great, but we should not give up on them either. Life is so important and brings us so many wonderful people in our lives, and that is why physician-assisted suicide should not be legal in all 50 states.
1 minute, 26 seconds. Rebuttal.
Well, going back to a little bit earlier, Megan was stressing that it was actually the patient's choice, not anyone else's. So if you're going to rebut what we're saying, just don't put words in our mouth. And going back to your argument, you're saying that terminally ill people have the choice to kill themselves, so why not disabled people or sick people? The difference is that terminally ill patients have already been given a death sentence. Now, we're not saying that they should all kill themselves. It's their choice. If they are living in constant pain and agony, it should be their choice to kill themselves. And the doctors are not the ones that are forcing these patients to do anything. It's all the patient's choice. The doctors can
persuade them to not do it, to seek other help, but in the end, it's the patient's choice, and that's how it should be in all 50 states.
44 seconds.